I could say that my mom and dad, they never paid attention to me in the way that I felt I would deserve, so I declared war against the world.
Everything's shining. I can't say this is gonna happen for everybody that's clean.
Things that I didn't want to do, I had to do.
I can't believe we're here right now doing this. This is a big thing, man.
And so that's my biggest motivation right now, is just like seeing what I can do like while being sober.
Or if I got to do whatever I got to do, like my life's got to change like right now, you know?
I am Michael, raised in Long Beach, California. I've lived a couple different places. Obviously, you and I, all right, grew up in Lakeside a little bit, but most of the part, born in Long Beach, lived in Long Beach, growing up, mother and father, both from Long Beach. So yeah, that's the roots right there for sure.
All right, can you tell me a little bit of what your childhood was like?
Father was a motorcycle riding, dope cooking, you know what I mean? Mom grew up in Long Beach. She has a little wild side to her, right? She tries to like not say she's not wild now, but her childhood was definitely wild growing up on the east side of Long Beach. As a baby, dad was in and out of prison my whole life, right? White supremacist. Sort of where I got my vision from, like wanted to be just like my dad. You mean? As a baby, right? Like dad was in and out of prison the whole time. And there was a disconnect there, but even though he wasn't around, like I wanted to like shape my life like my father, right? He was known in my city, right? Like cooked dope, rode motorcycles. And so I wanted to shape my life like that as a kid. So as a kid, I used to go down to the garage all the time. My dad had this cutout, right? You go up into the apartment, right? And everybody now, if you go back to my city right now, they always tell stories about my house. When you go in there, you open the cover, there's a cutout on the ladder that goes into this room, right? And I used to go down to the room all the time. I would sneak down there. And my dad had all the women down there, right? They'd be doing drugs, right? Working on motorcycles. And literally, like, I thought that, and they'd be doing tattoos, right? I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, man, like, when I get older, like, I want to have these tattoos. I want to ride motorcycles, and like, I want to cook dope. You mean like, that was like this illusion I was living in, right? But as a kid, that's literally just watching my father and watching how he operated and how people loved him, because everybody loved him. Obviously, he was the man, right? He had the bag. So, but watching that, like, that made me like, that's what I want to be. I mean, and so moving forward in my life, like, I sort of shaped my life after that, you know?
So, yes, sir. I need you to wipe the sweat off with my forehead. Sweating. Use something else. You use your shirt.
This motherfucker hot in here.
He gets it in his shop.
I got you, bro. A shot of coffee.
Where James is it?
Okay. That's good.
So easy. Yes, we use the room.
Get ready!
Sweating again now.
You making me blush, homie.
Yeah.
Do you remember, do you remember your first time getting high and what that was like?
Yeah, I went up.
You were getting high at a very young age. I don't know your first time getting high, but
So we knew smoked weed as a kid, right? But we never did nothing like that. But I know first time ever doing meth. We're at my house and my homeboys we're in Long Beach, and it was Halloween. I think I was like 12. I think I was like 12 years old. My homeboys were like, we know your dad got some dope in the garage, you know? And I'm like, hey, you're probably right, you know what I mean? But I was scared as hell. I was like, man, my dad's gonna beat my fucking ass. You know what I mean? I was like, all right. I fucking climb down this little ladder. I go down there and fucking I open up the little thing, right? The drawer, big old bags. I'm like, all right. I take a little bit out. Me and homeboys go upstairs. We do a bunch of lines, and bro, I remember in my mind, I go back and I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing, bro? Literally, we walked the streets of Long Beach all night just doing violence on people, right? Robbing people, doing violence. Just, you know what I mean? And I look back to that today, I'm like, oh, like what? In that stage of my life, like what the fuck was I doing? You know what I mean? Like where was the structure? Where was the structure in my household? You know what I mean? And it's a trip to think back to that because I could not even think of like for my son to even be at that age to be doing something like that would be crazy.
You know, I mean, I know you. I've known you a long time, but even for myself, like I feel like for some of us, there was something in us that was just drawn to that lifestyle. And here now, you just opened up with this interview. You were drawn to that lifestyle too, you know, and it's crazy how that false perception of like what we thought was cool or being a man was like how lost we end up being because of that, you know? And that's kind of what it is, you know?
So I think for me, it was acceptance. So I think for a long time, like my mother and my father, when I was a baby, my house got raided. My dad went to prison. My mom got in the Jeep. The college jump started the Jeep. She never looked back. She'd been married to my dad for 33 years. And obviously that's how I met you. Because my stepdad was in the Navy, right? So he was stationed in Lakeside. So every time my dad would go to prison, I would go to Lakeside, right? But as a kid, like obviously I wanted to be just like my father, right? And that was like, in my mind, that was who I wanted to be. I wanted to be Little Nappy, right? But he was never there. So the structure of him trying to teach me things, he never taught me how to throw a hammer. He never taught me sports. So I went out and looked for it myself. And by doing that, right, like I went and looked for acceptance in the wrong places. So obviously I went into the streets and looked for the homeboys. So as a young kid, like, yeah, I started gangbanging at 12 years old. You know what I mean? Like I'm in my neighborhood looking at these dudes who are fucking, I'm 12, these dudes are in their 20s, you know what I mean? And I'm idolizing these men, right? And I'm gullible, I'm living this illusion just because I wanted to be part of something, bro. You know what I mean? Like I wanted somebody to look at me and be like, hey man, I'm fucking proud of you, I love you. You know what I mean? And I got that. That was the thing. You know what I mean? When I started going into that lifestyle, I got that. You mean when someone looked at me and they're like, hey man, I'm fucking proud of you, good job, homie. You know what I mean? It's like, that's something I was missing my whole childhood. You mean from a male figure. So it's easy to fall into that and continue doing that when you get that type of love.
For sure. Can you tell us about your first time getting locked up? What that experience was like? Was in juvenile?
12 years old.
Yeah.
12 years old in LA, right? So obviously like, and where I'm from, you mean like you go to Los Casinos Juvenile Hall, you're the only white boy in there. You're right. Yeah, I was at the skate park. I hit this dude over the head with a skateboard. Robbed him for everything. Next day they come to my school. They pick me up. I get arrested for assault with deadly weapon, battery, and burglary. I go to Los Casinos Juvenile Hall, and I remember I get there and I call my dad. They're like, hey, you call your dad? You know, I call my dad. I'm like, Dad, I'm in jail. You know, he's like, well, this is how you're gonna do it. This is what you're gonna do. Don't be playing basketball with these people. I'm like, instantly straight in trying to structure me on how to operate, right? And I'm like, well, this is juvenile hall. Like, you're tripping. You know, he's like, oh, everything will follow you. That's what he told me, right? And I'm like, okay. Like, so I went into this thinking like that, bro. And then obviously as a kid, like my last name is Nappy, right? Like, go to Los Casinos, go to LA County Juvenile Hall with the last name Nappy. As a white boy, you're gonna have it rough, homie. I'm giving a fuck. You're gonna have it rough as fuck, right? I think I fought everybody from a few neighborhoods. I mean, Nappy disses a few different hoods, so like, that word is disrespectful to some people. You know what I mean? So as a kid, like, yeah, and a white boy, you already know. You know, it's one of those things that you learn how to fight real quick. You know.
Is that something that pushed you away, or did you draw more in?
Drew me more in. I think that, to be honest with you, at that moment, like, it made me more, at that time, racial, bro. When you're a white boy, homie, you feel like everybody's trying to take your shit, bro. and everyone's trying to make you a victim, bro, it makes you fucking hate everybody, homie.
Yeah.
You mean at that moment you're like, obviously I put myself in that situation, but yeah, I started to grow hate towards everybody. I went to prison at 17.
Which prisons?
I got busted for armed robberies at 17. I got charged as an adult. On my 18th birthday, I was sitting in LA County Jail going through booking. I am getting sentenced to 6 years, 85%, right? At 18 years old. Did that. I never got no G. I never graduated high school. I think my last year was ninth grade. I didn't get my GED until just this last prison term. I did the 10 years in 2020. My mom was like, hey, I'm asking you for one favor. I said, what's that? She goes, get your GED, please. And I was like, I don't even know if I could do that. You know what I mean? Like, I was so nervous. I ain't lie to you. You know what I mean? And when I did it and I passed the first shot, bro, I was like, fuck, I'm actually pretty fucking smart, homie. You know what I mean? From there, I was like, okay, we're on to something, homie. And to be honest with you, that was my momentum. That was when I got the GED and I see my mom's face and heard her on the phone when I called her and it made her happy. I was like, oh, I need some more of this. And in prison, that was my first time with programs at all. I never touched a program ever once, never. The homies don't want you doing programs. The homies don't want you doing that, right? So like when I started doing that and I did that, I got that GED, it changed everything for me.
Can you talk a little bit about prison for the first time, your addiction, maybe being politically involved, any of that?
Is that something you want to touch on?
Yeah.
Straight into addiction, whatever it is.
I mean, in California, obviously, like for me, being from my neighborhood, right? I grew up on the east side of Long Beach, right? I grew up in a racial ass city. Where I'm from, it's one of the most. I truly believe Long Beach is one of the most racial cities in California. Period. So I've been around everybody, but then yeah, going into prison there, right? Like I paroled from Cork and Shoe, but I was a high desert. You mean I was in Arizona? I made my rounds. But as a young kid, I look back to, I actually just got them pictures yesterday. Someone had they had this old photo album of me, right? And I'm looking at these pictures and I'm like, I'm looking at this kid, bro, and I was living in an illusion, bro. Right? Like I look at that kid and what I was doing, right? I was answering to people that I'll never meet in my life. I'll never meet these dudes. I'm trying to impress people that I'll fucking never meet. Right? And it's like that puts people in a fucked up situation. You know, if you're willing to do something for somebody you'll never meet, bro, you mean like you're giving your life away. And I did that for years, bro.
Yeah. That false perception that I talked about, where we think we should be or who we thought we were or our idea of a man. And it's all bullshit, And I always talk to people about like once your eyes open up, like you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? Especially when you've been lost for so long. You're like, damn.
Yeah, I know. And through there, like obviously structure in my life, like I don't care what anybody says, California State Prison on me, that you learn structure, bro. So through there, right, I hold on to some of those things that I learned there because once you experience that, right, and you are sitting in corporate shoe and you've had everything taken from you, right? Like you learn what structure looks like. So you could take some of that. If I could take some of that now and apply that to my life today in a positive way, it's gonna help me, right? And I do that. I do that with everything I do.
All right, let's go into a little bit of your addiction and what that looked like.
I never touched a needle until I got out of California prison. So when I got out of California prison, I met my baby mama, and I show up to this house and she's like, "Hey, you get high?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." Like, I'm trying to impress. You know what I mean? Like I thought we were just gonna get high. We go in the bathroom and she pulls out this needle, and I'm like, I'm scared as fucking needles, homie. Yeah. I'm scared as fucking needles. And she's like, "Well, hey, you get high like this?" I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, I do that. You know what I mean? No, damn well I ain't never done that before. And once I put that needle in my arm, bro, it fucking changed me forever. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's two ways to go with it. Some people turn to put that needle in their arm, homie, and they get real weird, right? And some people put it in their arm and they turn into fucking lokes. You know what I mean? And when I put that needle in my arm, it turned me into a fucking monster, bro. You mean like I literally had no care for anything or anybody around me. I didn't care about myself, and so, like, I think that's something that really was the moment where obviously I was already fucking up, but once I put that in my arm, everything went south. That was fresh out of prison. So at that moment I was like, oh, I'm going back to prison. Like, we were obviously having a conversation earlier. We're talking about the things I was doing. Yeah, bro, I was sticking needles in my arm. I mean, like, nothing. There was no sense of anything. There was no direction. No, nothing was intentional, bro, because I had no control over what I was doing. So yeah, I think that was the mark where things changed for me for sure.
Is there any moments like in that time? Because at this point you're fresh out of prison, and I talked to you earlier, so I know you don't last very long out of prison. But is there any like moments like, I feel like everyone has like these like moments of clarity or like these God moments where like, get these times when you're by yourself, or maybe you're with the homeboy. You know what I mean? You're like evaluating your life, like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Do you have any moments like that?
When I got out last time,
Yeah.
no.
Or is that later on in your prison?
When I was in prison, at that moment, I didn't give a fuck about nothing. I didn't care about nothing at that moment. You mean until I was sitting in Idaho in a prison cell, and someone was in the event like, hey, you're about to get 50 years. I'm like, for what? I mean, like, then I was like, and my son hadn't been born yet. And so, like, at that moment, I was like, I was still living in an illusion, though. I was still wearing a Thor's hammer around my neck. I still thought I was this warrior, and I had to live by this code and answer to these people, right? Like, still had to impress these individuals. And so, yeah, I don't think that happened until God wasn't a thing at all until 5 years ago. I started while I was in prison. I had a moment in there, and I was on the fence about things, right? I was still 1 foot in, 1 foot out about 5 years ago.
I mean, so most of your young adulthood and most of your life has been in prison.
16 years.
Most of it's due to drinking or due to drugs. I mean, napkin pool. Yeah. You want to talk about how you got to prison, or you might want to get more into what your addiction looked like, some of the grimy stuff, your bright idea to take off from here and go up to Idaho.
And so, yeah, so obviously, like, at that moment, right when I got out of prison last time, when I paroled from Corcoran Shoe, like, I was in a cell with a big homie. Like, when I left the cell, I was like, all right, big homie, like, this is what I'm gonna go do. I had everything lined up. So I already knew I was going back to prison. I just didn't know it was gonna be in Idaho. That's it. I knew I was going back to prison. That wasn't a question. Because in my mind, like, everything I was doing, it was an honor. Right? It's an honor to go fucking do these things. Right? It's a privilege that this individual is even asking me to go do this. That's how I look at it, right? So when I got out, obviously I was running and gunning straight from the gate. But getting to Idaho, obviously, like, I'm not no heroin dealer, bro. I don't fuck with heroin. I never even done heroin ever in my life. Somebody was in Idaho, and they were like, hey, if you bring, this is how much they charge up here. I'm all, well, I might make it up there. You know what I mean? I'll see what's up. Well, I was partying all through Orange County. We were, acting a fool, and I ended up picking up a few pounds of heroin. I told my homeboy, I was like, hey, we're going to go up there and party. So, like, obviously, yes, I was trafficking heroin, right? But in my mind at the moment, I'm just like, throw the bag in the back seat. We got to rent a car in somebody else's name. We're just going to party all the way up there, you know what I mean? So I think I robbed dudes the whole trip. All the way through Vegas, I robbed like 7 different people. Got to Vegas, robbed a few people in Vegas, got all the way to Idaho. And I'm with my homeboy, and he's driving crazy as hell. I never had a driver's license ever in my life. Never had a driver's license, never had my own car, nothing. And I'm like, I was like, hey, bro, you're done driving. I was like, you're acting a fool. Let me drive. He's all right, cool. So I get in the car. we're driving to Idaho, and I fall asleep, homie. I go out the side of the freeway.
Have you been out for like a few days?
I've been out for like 5 days, 6 days. Yeah. I've been out for like 6 days. I said we were robbing people all through Vegas. I mean, like, I had printers in the car. I fucking had fake IDs, all the fucking pounds of meth, pounds of heroin. You know, we're just partying, bro. There was no, like I said, I didn't have like shit hidden or nothing like that. I was acting a fool. And so when we crashed, I went outside the freeway, went over the middle, flipped it like 10 times, landed on the hood. I got out. I pulled my homeboy out the car. The glass is sticking out the windshield's sticking out my chest. And I look at my homeboy. I'm like, "You good?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm all right, cool." I get up. I take off, running outside the freeway. At this moment, I wasn't even tripping on anything. The drugs going anywhere. I was like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. I'm thinking about the charges I got in California at the time.
Oh, you're trying to get away.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away, right? So I take off, and I run into some barbed wire sticking out my chin, right? I get to this truck stop. I get to the truck stop. I get one of the semi trucks. I'm in the semi truck just for like 4 hours, just bleeding out my chest. I fall asleep. I wake up. I hear knocking on the trailer door. "Hey, come out!" I'm like, oh. So I come out there. I'm like, "What's up?" You know? They're like, "Were you in the car crash down the street?" I'm like, "Nah, not me." You know what I mean? Like, I got the windshield sticking out my chest. And they're like, I was like, "Man, like that wasn't me." You know? They're like, "Yeah, turn around, bro." You know what I mean? And so at that moment, I'm still not thinking about none of the drugs, right? I'm like, whatever. I'm thinking about like, all right, California shit. So they're like, "Well, what's your name?" I give them this fake name all the way through. We get to the place. They run my fingerprints, right? They get my name. They get my real name. So they start bringing up the California stuff. And they're like, "All right, so what about the fucking 5 pounds of heroin all over the freeway?" I'm like, I have no idea about any of that. I wasn't even there, you know? So I then I'm taking me to the hospital. I wake up in Ada County Jail in Idaho. I mean, I'm in Boise, Idaho. I have no idea where the fuck I'm at, right? When they told me to go to Boise, Idaho, I was like, "Hey man, where the fuck is that? Is that Iowa, Idaho? I don't know where I'm going, you know?" So I get there. I wake up in Ada County Max, and the dude gets in the vent. He goes, "Hey bro, I saw you all over the news." I'm like, "Oh shit." He goes, "You're probably gonna get like 50 years. I'm like, "For what? I didn't even do shit." You know what I mean? He's like, "No, bro, they don't play with heroin around here, bro. Anything over for 28 grams of heroin is 15 years to life." I'm like, my heart said, boom, hit my bottom of my stomach, bro. Sick to my stomach. I'm fucked, homie. I felt sick, bro. I sat back there for a minute. I was facing 20 plus 20. That was my deal the whole time. I ended up taking the deal for 10 years plus 8 years for 18 years. So there in the state of Idaho, after 10 years, you'll go to board. And if they feel like you've done good within the last so time, they'll let you out, right? But you have 8 years hanging over your head. So like right now I have 8 years hanging over my head.
So did you bounce around, or did you say, I don't know how Idaho works. What did you bounce around in different prisons in Idaho, or just?
Oh yeah, I went from I was maximum points for 8.5 years. So like in California, we have our level 4s. Right. So there for 8.5 years, I was maxed, right, close custody. But they sent 150 gang members from Idaho, right, which is all white. You know what I mean? So 150 gang members they sent from Idaho to Texas, right? So I was in Texas, right on the border, right in Eagle Pass on the border of Mexico and Texas. They sent us there, and I had drug use there too. So like in that moment, like I was still, so I was still living that life, but I was still eating my addiction. Like I told you, once he puts that needle in your arm, bro, I don't give a fuck who you are. It changes you, bro. And so being there, I think I was more, to be honest with you, while I was in Texas prison there, I was more strung out right there than I'd ever been on the streets. Bro, like the CLs are bringing you fucking pounds of dope. They're coming from Mexico. You can see the border from there, bro. So they would come and for them, they weren't making enough money. So that's how they made their money. They bring you pounds of dope. You'd be you're sitting there just strung out on fucking whatever, Holmes. So I was strung out more there. So where the transformation happened was My big homie passes away, right? While I'm in Texas, right? I think I was talking to you. I have a cell phone, right? I think I had 2 cell phones there. That's how bad it was. I have 2 cell phones there, you know what I mean? And I'm talking to you all the time, and my big homie passes away. And when he passes away, he's like, hey, like, everything I talk to you, fuck it all. And I'm like, yeah, WWMHD on my chin. What would Matt Hall do? Right? And that's how he always said, if you come to something that you don't know how to handle, ask yourself, what would Matt Hall do? And that always meant violence. Right? He goes, you know, so like that's what I live my life by, violence. And so when he said, forget everything I taught you, I was confused. I mean, like 100%. I'm like, bro, what the fuck you mean? Like I've literally idolized you for all these years. I've structured my life behind you, and you told me to fucking forget about everything. So I'm in this moment where I'm confused, like what's going on. And then from there,
Does he kind of run a little bit down of like why he's saying that?
yeah,
Because obviously he's going for some life shit too in that time, and he's probably having some clarity of his decisions, and I mean really of that false perception that we talk about though, you know.
well, he was from my neighborhood for 25 years, bro. And then obviously he made his step into that role he had. And bro, they had him on 12 acts of murder, bro. He's sitting in there, he's like, bro, no one gives a fuck about me right now, Michael. Here I am. Like, he took off to Costa Rica. He was in Costa Rica, bro, waiting to die. I mean, like, he's sitting there and he's like, you know, like I said, I idolize this man, bro. But who he was all the way until that moment. And then when he had that role, bro, how he structured his life, he was a bad motherfucker, like, in all concepts, bro. Like, and so to hear him say that, like, these dudes don't give a fuck about you, man. If they don't give a fuck about him, they damn well don't give a fuck about me, right? And that's when I was like, I gotta do something. But at that moment, how do you do something when you don't know how to, right? Like, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, the only books I've ever read my whole life is is literature on how to hate. You know? So that's all you've ever read, how are you supposed to change that, bro? How are you supposed to, it doesn't just change. So, yeah, bro, that was big. Yeah, that was a big moment for me. I didn't know how to handle it because I'm like, what do I do? You know what I mean? And he was my guidance before that. You know, and obviously I'm hard-headed like a motherfucker. So anybody in there, I'm like, I ain't listening to these fools. They're from Idaho. You know what I mean? That's how it was. I'm from California. I mean, these fools don't fucking, they don't get me, Holmes. You know what I mean? Like, they don't get how I grew up.
Ain't big like us.
No, they don't get how I grew up. They never been, I mean, they never been to the east side of Long Beach, homie. They never, right? That was my mindset. Instead of being, as I've gotten further into this, there's good people everywhere you go. And now I have some people in Idaho right now that I do look up to as mentors, bro. I've been able to choose mentors in my life and be very intentional, right? Even they're from Idaho, Missouri, I don't give a fuck where they're from. If they're further ahead in the process than me, I want to know how they did it, right? Because there's healing that we have to do, bro. There's healing that we have to do that we don't know how to do, bro. I don't know how to heal. I don't know how to grieve. I don't know how to do none of that. So if somebody has done it already, please help me. You know what I mean? And that was the biggest thing, asking for help, Bones. I've never asked for help, bro, ever. You know, that's held me back.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your transformation and, you know, that switch in prison and getting out and what you give to.
I got an opportunity, right? I was close custody, and his name was deputy. So he was a deputy warden, right? He would come out. I was in there. So then they moved me to Arizona from Texas. So I was in Arizona, and he was the deputy warden of the prisons for out of state. He comes and I go sit down with him. I said, look, bro, like, this place is fucking miserable. Like, get me back to Idaho. I'm an Idaho inmate. Like, get me back to Idaho. That's where the opportunity's at. You know what I mean? Like, here you're sitting in a dungeon, bro. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally, I have nothing coming here besides getting in trouble. And he was like, nah, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. Well, that was a place where I got my GED. That was where I started parenting classes. That was where I started my electrical class, all from the GED. So I took the Hustle 2.0, which they have in California. I took that there. So I was doing certain little things, right? Like things I've never done before. So I went back down to him the next day. I'm like, hey, bro, like, this is what I've done, bro. Like, this is just the beginning of it. I don't know what the future holds for me, But if you hold me here, none of that shit will ever happen. He's like, I'll see what I could do. A week later, they put me on transport, right, with max points. Shoot me back to Idaho. I get on the bus, 34-hour drive from Arizona to Idaho, in a black box. I get there, I get off the bus, well, I'm still max points. So they put me straight in AdSeg. So I go to AdSeg. I'm sitting in AdSeg for 2 months. The warden comes down and sees me, and she's like, hey, like, are you still max points? I said, look, man, like, this is what I want to do, right? Like, I want, there's opportunity here. I just need an exception. They ended up giving me an exception, right? So I get onto the yard, right? And from there, her name's Noelle Barlow. She's now the deputy chief probation and parole in Idaho, right? Well, she was the warden at the time at the farm. And she's like, I'm gonna bring you over here to this prison, right? If you help me with the mentor program. So there we have a peer mentor program inside the prison. So I got involved with the peer mentor program, helped them build the curriculum to the peer mentor program, did that, helped them run the curriculum to the program, built the program inside the prison to hundreds, right? So these are individuals that are learning how to advocate for people, learning how to be of service, bro, all of it, right? While in prison. Through that, there was a lieutenant at the time, right? Now he's a warden somewhere else. And he's like, hey, like, I have a vision. I said, well, what's that? He goes, I want to create a leadership development program inside the prison for inmates and staff. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. That shit'll never happen, bro. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's one thing, you got us. I was like, you got inmates in here, yeah, it's one thing. But you think dudes are gonna sit with staff and cops are gonna sit with them? That's not gonna be a thing. So, well, see what you can do. So he ended up putting a team together. It was me, my homeboy James, who's been down 22 years, and a dude named Tim, and there was 3 women from the women's prison, right? Put us in a room together, in admin, and gave us some books, some leadership books. It was like, hey, do what you guys do. So we started flipping through these books, like, all right, what can we pull from this shit, you know? And we built the whole curriculum. It took us a year and a half, 2 years to build the curriculum to this program. All the way from self-discovery, self-development, life skills, habits, emotional intelligence, entrepreneurship, re-entry, all the way into leadership development, right? Teaching people how to take some of that negative shit and put it into something positive, right? And so we built the whole program. Now we're, all right, now how are we gonna launch it? So we ended up launching it on at the women's prison, right? And the men's prison for a pilot program. And the pilot program was interesting, bro. You mean it was the first time we ever had some staff members. Everybody at first was a little skeptical, but now, homie, I think I have 400 total graduates, both inmates and staff, all the way from deputy chiefs of prisons have been involved in these classes. I have pro officers. I have people now. I have people coming from the community into the prison to take the class, right? Like my homeboy Vic, right, back over in Idaho. He's been out of prison for 6 years. He's able to come from the streets, come into the prison, take this leadership development program with the inmates.
Once was a prisoner of that same
Yes,
prison.
yes. Yeah, and got him. We have the first time ever, so this is something that we're trying right now. I think is lethal. You have individuals in prison, right, who are dating these women, right, or they get married. So like my homeboy, he's been with this girl for 10 years. He's been out 22 years. He's been married for 5 years with her, right? He's got a parole date for a year out. They don't even know if they like each other, homie, right? Then they can barely get along through the phone, right? So they don't know what being in person looks like when they get out of prison. So in my mind, I'm like, well, why don't we have them take a class together? So now she's coming from the streets into the prison and being involved in Rise in the prison with her husband before he gets parole. For me, that's everything, bro, right? That's reentry. So when we talk about reentry, we talk about paving the way for these individuals getting out of prison. That's the perfect way. There's nothing better than that, right? So, and this is actually what we're doing is a pilot. It's going on right now as we speak. I think we're on like month 3. It's a 5-month program, right? Going through everything that you go through, the hours and stuff like that. But you know, you go into crucial conversations, all of it, bro. And I've sat down with some staff members in there, bro, and that put me in the hole millions of times, and we've got to the bottom of why they put me in the hole, right? Like they got traumas too, homie. Right? They got, right? We We don't know, bro. When they come to work, we don't know what they're going through, right? Like, they're going through the same shit we are. Some of them are addicts too. Some of them are like, and being able to sit down and have those conversations and collaborate, bro, I think it goes a long way,
Yeah. I mean, there's something powerful about just having a real conversation with someone and feeling like a human, especially when it's a cop, you know? Because, you know, like me, you were talking about earlier, man, I sat and had a conversation with the cop and treated me like a moral human being. Like, there was something that was so powerful about that, you know?
Well, I got out of prison, so when I got out this time, I've been out 4 days. Okay, after 10 years. Okay, I get out. I've been out 4 days. I went my homeboy Vic, right? And obviously Vic's been out 6 years, been successful, right, with his business, everything that he's doing. And he tells me, hey, we're gonna go to the cigar lounge. Well, I never even smoked a cigar ever in my life, bro. Right? So I'm like, the cigar lounge? I mean, I don't even smoke cigars. I don't even smoke. Oh, you know, cigars are good, homie. So we get there, I walk into this room, and it's a bunch of dudes, right? I'm like, there's some imposter syndrome, right? I'm like, he said, well, that dude right there just sold the app to Apple for $200 million. That dude right there is a firefighter. He's going down the list of these individuals. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I end up, I'm getting a cigar, I'm smoking, sitting down with this dude, and I'm vibing with this guy for like 30 minutes. We're vibing. We're talking about traumas. We're talking about all types of shit, and then he's like, man, so what do you do? And I'm like, I don't do shit. I just got out of prison, homie. After 10 years, he goes, I'm all like, what do you do? He's all, well, I'm an active meridian police officer. I'm like, okay. He's all, and I was like, hey, do you have Instagram? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can I follow you? I was like, what the fuck? So now this dude follows me on Instagram, likes all my pictures, bro. But he's part of this dude, so it's called Bam Nation, right? And so that's his podcast I was on last. And through Bam Nation, he has active law enforcement, he has firefighters, ex-law enforcement, OCOs, and through that, like I've met some law enforcement, bro, that I've sat down with, and we've had some conversations, bro, that I don't think I've ever would think in my mind, in my life, that I would ever have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to see the journey that you're on. I mean, when me and you were, we got to wrap this up here pretty soon because we're short on time. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more moments where we probably sit down again. But it's a trip because obviously I've known you pretty much your whole life. And then one of the last times that we spoke, me and you were still living a little bit of a different life, And it's crazy to see like the growth and yourself and myself and the fact that we're able to sit here. And I know what you got going on and I respect that. And you got a solid little crew of people that are doing some rad stuff out there in Idaho. And I just want to tell you while we're sitting here that I'm proud of you. And just keep doing whatever it is that you're doing, man. And I feel like that something big is going to happen for you. I really do. And I believe that, man. Just have faith, bro, and trust God, dude. It's pretty cool that we got to roll out church this morning, chop it up and just, had a day together. We'll be taking off and going to an event. And I think that we'll be doing some pretty cool stuff here in the future. And you got a solid future ahead of you, bro.
I appreciate
you, bro. Yeah, this is just the beginning, dog.
No, I appreciate that, Holmes, like for reals. And you are right, because I remember some of the last conversations we were having, and like I remember like I was like sending these pictures because I thought they were like of me and my big homie and all these crowds, and it's like I look back to that, I'm like, bro, like why am I proud of that? You know what I mean? And so I think back to a lot of conversations I had with some people, you know what I mean? But no, I'm proud of you as well. I mean, I'm up there in Idaho rocking Crooked Saints stuff. I got the homies rocking. Hey, I'll go places and they'll be like, man, whose brand's Crooked Saints? You know what I mean? All in Idaho, so it's super cool. Yeah, and I'm super blessed to be around some of the people I am, and obviously to have the girl in my life that I have now, right? Like I've never been in a relationship outside of prison ever in my life, bro. Praying for you. I'm praying too. I mean, trust me.
All right. Tell me some of your goals. What does the future look like for you?
Marriage. That's my goal, homie. Nope. Nah, 100%, homie. Marriage is big for me. That's something I want in my life.
A healthy relationship, marriage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no if it's not healthy, there ain't no marriage. So, you know what I mean? That's just what it is. So marriage.
All of a sudden he's here.
I want right now where I'm at. The next goal, homie, is to make my business the thing I got going on. Right. I have a new role with this company I'm in, and I really just want to structure it into something that's my style, homie. Like my coaching style and the way I mentor, because I have a role as a mentor with my company. So I really want that to boom, bro. There's a lot of plus that could come from it. So that's one of my goals. And to really like get this nonprofit I have going, Connect Correct, with the homie Victor, right? Like I think the word connection is big, bro. Like we strive off connection. So being able to like really get that going, homies, and get that culture. Like being down here around you guys, bro, this culture is amazing, homie. Like what you guys have going down here, bro, they don't have that everywhere, homie. I want you to really understand that. Like, this is what people are missing. That culture, homie, that family, bro. And so if I could get something like this up there in this little town, bro, right, with some of my homies, like, this is what it's about, homie. Right? And so, like, I'm proud of you, homie. Like, I love it. The family, the camaraderie, bro, that's fucking big as fuck. So that's a goal, homie. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And I do want to ask you, how did you start getting into going to church and finding God? Because I mean, I know that's not how you grew up. So I'm interested to hear that part of your story real quick.
I was alone, homie. I felt alone, bro.
Yeah.
I was banging my head off the wall, bro. I was sitting in that cell, homie, banging my head off the wall. I'm wearing a Thor's hammer, homie. Like, yes, don't get me wrong. I love my heritage, where we come from. I think everybody should, right? But that's an illusion, bro. Like, you know. And so the first time I went to church in prison, I walked in the church, and these were dudes. I'm like, man, I gotta try something different, you know. And somebody was already talking to me about God, and they were doing that. I was feeling super alone, and somebody had given me a Bible. I went to church in prison, and I was sitting in there, and I remember I was sitting down. I'm like super nervous. I'm like sitting with my Bible, homes, and people are looking at me. I'm looking around, and all these dudes that were looking at me, these are dudes that, like, if I was walking down the breezeway, they would see me, and they would go the opposite way. And then, like, out of nowhere, they just all started coming up to me. Hey, man, like, what are you doing in here? Like, what's up? Like, we're proud to see you here. Like, and that love in the church, bro, in the prison church, was powerful, homes. And so that was one thing I felt like. And then after that, every time I would walk, I would see these dudes, and they'd be like, hey, Michael, what's up? Right. Not Whisper, not my nickname. It was Michael. Hey, Michael, what's up? I was like, man, I started getting this recognition from people that weren't a part of, like, that lifestyle, bro. And from there, like, once I gave myself to the Lord in prison, bro, I didn't feel alone no more. And I did feel alone, bro, because my father passed away, my big homie passed away, right? My mom's in Pennsylvania. I can't go back to Long Beach. I'm staying in Idaho. I'm paroling to a halfway house, homie, right? I don't know nobody. Homie, I have $0 to my name. You mean, like, I was like, well, I'm fucking alone. Homie's like, you know, and they kept telling me, you keep Lord on your side, you will never be fucking alone. And I'm like, and that was one thing I was like, well, I don't want to not stop being bro, you don't have to stop being yourself, bro. He takes you for you, bro. I mean, so I was like, well, if that's the case, then we're good to go. If he takes me for me, then we're good to go. And ever since I've done that, bro, my blessing has just continued to be on point. Opportunity has continued to come. You know what I mean? And so, like, now, yeah, I go to the church, bro, and you walk in there, and I don't have to change who I am, bro. I can be myself.
100%. You got your girl to go.
I did get her to go. I didn't get her to go, bro. Hey, I didn't get her to go. She's been having some signs herself, bro, coming to her life that I haven't even once forced it on her, bro. This has been her own thing, and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing, and she said, well, let's go. So, I know some of her family's probably like, what the fuck? But it's good, and I'm happy that I got to do it with you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, be true. Yeah, keep doing that, bro, but then keep getting blessings, bro. You know, I mean, my life is changed and transformed into something way bigger than I ever could imagine. you know. And I mean, that's because of God. That's because of recovery. So stick to it, and keep doing positive stuff, man. I really never stopped yelling, bro. 100%. You know what I mean? Just like we could always get worse and worse and worse. There's never a plateau of a rock bottom, and there's never a plateau of getting better. So if you keep that in mind, you'll go a long ways. And it's worked out well in my life. And I'm not saying I do it perfectly. You know what I mean? I'm still screwed up, and I still have screwed up thoughts. But you know, God has been a big factor in my life and how much it's changed.
No, I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything that you would tell either a younger version of you or, you know, some kids out there struggling? Is there any message that you have?
Get out your own way. Yeah. Bro, I was always in my own way. I mean, like, if I would just like took 10 seconds to like breathe, like, hey, go that thing when they tell you, hey, take 10 seconds, count to 10, breathe. I always thought that was bullshit. It's like, bro, if you actually take that time, you breathe, take 5 steps back, take a little breathe and get out your own way, bro, you'll be all right. And I do that now because sometimes I get in my own way, or you'll say something, you know what I mean, your self-sabotage, all of it, bro. That comes from getting in your own way, right? So if you just stay in alignment with what the vision is, what the mission is, bro, and making sure that you're on point like that and you're being very intentional with your time, bro, you'll be all right. I think back to my childhood, homie. I'm like, if I would have listened one time, if I would have listened one time, bro, that's all it takes. One time. And then there's one other thing, to ask for help. Right?
Is there anything you want to tell any family members?
Yeah, I want to tell my mom that I love her to death, right? And I put my mom through pain, bro. And it's not like, sometimes you think like it's that ripple effect that you do, right? And I'm thankful that she took my son, right? My son's been out there for 10 years. He's born while I was in prison, right? And without her getting my son, bro, and like being able to raise him, like I don't know. I don't know if there would be a relationship with him. I don't know what that would look like. Yeah. You know, and my baby mama, she's still in the streets doing her thing. So who knows what that would look like, bro, right? And I think I take that I don't know if I take it for granted ever, but like, I don't think I give her the appreciation that she truly deserves, right? And so like, I've been trying to build that relationship back with her, it's all through a phone, homie. I call my mom, you know what I mean? Obviously my mom's been gone since she left San Diego, homie. Yeah. Right? She's been gone since the 8th grade. She's been in Pennsylvania, homie. So it's like, everything I've done with her has been through a phone, homie, every Saturday. I call her from the prison phone. Now I try to make that more now. But yeah, bro, she has my son, homie, and my stepdad. You know, he has my son, my brother, my sister, all of my brother out there. They've been raising him. Even though he's a little shit, you know what I mean? But they're raising him, homie, and I
Anything like you, they got their hands.
Yeah, they said he's worse than me, homie. So
I could say that my mom and dad, they never paid attention to me in the way that I felt I would deserve, so I declared war against the world.
Everything's shining. I can't say this is gonna happen for everybody that's clean.
Things that I didn't want to do, I had to do.
I can't believe we're here right now doing this. This is a big thing, man.
And so that's my biggest motivation right now, is just like seeing what I can do like while being sober.
Or if I got to do whatever I got to do, like my life's got to change like right now, you know?